Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tent of Abraham. I'm Tamir Kreisman from Jerusalem, Israel, and we continue with Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. We are in chapter 51. This is 51b. This is within the series of the Redemption, the Temple, and the New World. And this one is called Third Day Rising. Hallelu et Adonai kol goyim, shabachu kol ha'omim, ki gavar alenu chasdo ve'emet Adonai le'olam hallelujah. So we're going to start again from the chapter because last one was a preface. Rabban Gamliel says, just as the new moons are renewed and hallowed in this world, so too will Israel be renewed and hallowed in the times to come. As said in Leviticus 19:2, speak to the entire congregation of the children of Israel and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord, your God, am holy. Now again, I want you to keep everything in mind that we said in last class. Now we could get into this one. While the world goes according to the solar calendar, the Muslims go according to both solar and lunar, Israel are exclusively guided by the moon. The secret of the counting of the moon is the secret of Israel, is the secret of reality itself. Now, I discussed this in the earlier chapters of Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. They're called the Immaculate Conception, regarding the conception of the moon and the fact that it must be recognized and counted in order for the world to keep turning. The world depends on this. Just came across some new crazy information in regards to this. I'm not going to put in this class, obviously, but yeah, like literally 2 minutes before I started filming, some new stuff just came in. The information was given to Adam, who passed it on to his son Seth, and later down the line it got to Enoch, Methuselah, Noach, and his son Shem, who is Melchizedek, the original Melchizedek, who passed it to Abraham, he became Melchizedek and so on, who passed it to Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, right? God is now holding the count until Moses came along and picked it up. He then passed it to Joshua, the judges, the prophets, and the kings, meaning the heads of the Sanhedrin also, until we were exiled to Babylon and the first temple was destroyed. So we have never recovered from that point. Our exile is not 2,000 years. That's when the second temple was destroyed. But it's rather closer to 2,700 years. That was really the real exile. When the temple was destroyed with the Shekhinah, the ark was gone, the Urim, the Tumim, the fire, the smoke, none of these things were in the second temple. Like I said, the second temple was a big, beautiful building, a marvel of the ancient world, but it did not come close to the actual glory of the first temple. And both temples will pale in comparison with the third. So again, we're almost 2,700 years in exile. So why the importance of the moon? Because Israel is likened to the moon. And just like the moon is renewed, so too shall Israel be renewed. Not only renewed, but made holy, hallowed. And there is only one way that we can make ourselves holy and pure, and that is to follow the Torah, going through Torah, Zot. Starting with everything that we can do as of today, which is closer to 100 commands, as opposed to the 613, right? Even less than 100 if you're outside the land of Israel, because there are commands that are exclusive to the land of Israel. In other words, if you're not in Israel and you are a Jew, guess what? It's almost like on purpose you're not following the Torah. But we can never be complete without the temple being rebuilt and us fulfilling the commandments in the book of Leviticus regarding the offerings, right? God told us to do this, and every man from Israel must do this because we said we will do and we will hear. That means that we are responsible for all the commands in the Torah, 613 of them, in order to fulfill our word and obligation for carrying God's name, Israel. So in essence, if we do not live according to how we said, then technically, not spiritually, but technically, we're not Israel. It's a conditional thing. So what do we do in the meantime when we have no temple, no altar to fulfill the commandments and the offerings? It is very simple. We know all the prophets prophesied both for their own time and for the end times. So the sages will say, Kol haneviim lo nitnab'u ela la'acharit hayamim. Everything was about the final redemption, but obviously it was also relevant for their time. But everything, all the events of the last 6,000 years are going to, it's almost like they're going to happen again. All the good and all the bad from there is just going to come and culminate until everything is in its final tikkun, rectification. So just like God put us in this exile, yes, God did that. Again, it's on us, but God did that. Yet, we are the most ancient of people to still remain in this world with the same traditions, following the same Torah that God had told us through his prophets, through his prophet Hosea, how to handle the lack of offerings. Hosea 14:2 and 3. Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled in your iniquity, right? It's us. We are the ones that went away. So how do we come back? Now there's no temple, there's no altar. What do? Take words with yourselves and return to the Lord. Veshuvu el Adonai. Return to God. This is what tshuva. Tshuva comes from the word lashuv, to return to God. We are the ones that went away. How do we turn? Take words. This is from the prophet. Say, you shall forgive all iniquity and teach us the good way, and let us render for bulls the offering of our lips. We don't have altars right now that we could offer up bulls or goats or lambs or sheep or whatever, but we can speak. That is our redemption. It's very clear right there. Anybody that says anything else, go ahead. Go against the word of God. In other words, like our prayers before the prayers every morning, right? We're talking about the korbanot before we actually get to the tachlis. We read the order of the daily offerings every single day. In that day, in its time, and it counts according to God. Fact of the matter is, we're still here, so that kind of proves it. David also knew this and spoke of this in Psalms 51. O Lord, you shall open my lips, and my mouth will recite your praise. Adonai safatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. We say this before every single Shmoneh Esrei, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. For you do not wish a sacrifice, or I should give it. You do not desire a burnt offering. Wait, there's more, dudes. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. O God, you will not despise a broken and crushed heart. Fantastic. With your will, do good to Zion. Build the walls of Jerusalem. Final redemption. Then, final redemption. Mashiach is here. Third temple comes back. Everything is good. Then, what does David, King Mashiach, say? Then you will desire sacrifices of righteousness, not just hearts and all the lovey-dovey stuff. A burnt offering and a whole offering. Then you will offer up bulls on your altar. For real. In other words, the offerings are absolutely coming back. It's not me. I'm just the messenger. The Christians love these verses because they only read half of them. Nothing has been done away with, obviously. I mean, if so, then please throw away Psalms. Of course, we have to do tshuva, and the only way to do that truly is with a broken heart and with a broken spirit, to remove any dust of the ego that we might carry with us, any kind of idolatry. Everything is about returning to God and his ways, how exactly he told us to do it. And the last verse in Hosea 14 sums it up beautifully, which is verse 10. Who is wise and will understand these, discerning and will know them? We see chokhmah bina vadat, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And will know them, for the ways of the Lord are straight, and the righteous shall walk in them, and the rebellious, it's already been done away with, shall stumble on them. Absolutely. Amen. No one said this was going to be easy. Torah is very simple because you have to follow instruction. But it's not easy, since it would require us to overcome our very nature, humanity, if you will. There is a reason those who remain are called survivors or refugees. Isaiah 4:2-3. On that day, the sprout of the Lord shall be for beauty and for honor, and the fruit of the land for greatness and for glory for the survivors of Israel. ולתפארת לפליטת ישראל, פליטים, פליטת ישראל. But those who do remain, those who do hold out, those who do survive. Survive what? The birth pangs of Mashiach, Chavlei Mashiach. And it shall come to pass that every survivor, v'haya hanish'ar beTzion, v'hanotar beYerushalayim, whoever remained in Zion and whoever is left in Jerusalem, holy shall be said of him. Everyone inscribed for life in Jerusalem. Kadosh ya'amer lo, holy, as in speak to the entire congregation of the children of Israel and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Here we go. Whoever's left, holy. You see, God keeps his word. And the sages say that the heavens and the earth will also be renewed, for of them it says in Isaiah 34:4, and all the host of heaven shall melt, and the heavens shall be rolled like a scroll, and all their hosts shall wither as a leaf withers from a vine, and as a withered fig from a fig tree. Now, we discussed this concept in some of the Calling All Jews classes regarding renewal. According to the Maharal of Prague, a new reality cannot come until the old reality, the current reality now, is completely removed, completely ceases to exist. That's it. This is our new reality. Everything, the world as we know it, must completely end to the point where the new one, it will be unrecognizable. Nothing from here now is going to carry on then. Only our mitzvot, which is something that you can't actually, you understand, it's like a spiritual thing, right? We're building spiritual blocks by following the Torah. That is the only thing that will go over. Everything else gone, because something new is coming. Meaning, it will be almost unrecognizable to what it is today. For instance, you can't pray that the Israeli government should stand and be strong and continue on. You cannot do this while you are praying for the kingship of Mashiach. These are two opposing sides. You must understand. Now, again, it's not that I'm not grateful to, of course, this is a miracle from God. We were established in 1948. Abraham was born in 1948 to the creation of the world. Many Jews are coming back. Unfortunately, we have at least another 10 million outside. By the way, the redemption also depends on that, so shame on y'all. But aside from that, that's great. We are now in the land of Israel. The state of Israel, that has nothing to do with Jews. Nothing at all. So when you pray for the state to be strong and this broken system to continue and go on, you're actually praying against the kingship and the kingdom of Mashiach. That's it. And so, and unfortunately, yes, we're Zionists, but getting to this whole conversation that we already did. We see what's happening right now, right? I told you already before in these classes, I told you before in the group, I told you in the Calling All Jews and everything like that. When Jews around the world, particularly in the States, look to a man who was elected to, now it's going to be good and we will this and that and da-da-da. When you're looking for a man to save you, what happens? God will either do one of two things. He will remove that individual from the equation, or he will make that individual turn on you. It has happened before every single time. And it's going to happen again. And we know it by default has to happen again because Edom, America, the Christian world, the Western world, have to turn on Israel. Gog and Magog equals to 70, as in the 70 nations. So we're not going to be buddies with America. There's no other way about it. The Jews need to be in Israel for the final redemption to take place. And so if we're not doing it on our own, and we are not, fires will be lit. So one of the conditions written in Masechet Sanhedrin is that the Son of David will not come until all governments are destroyed, until money has lost its value, until there is nowhere left for us to turn and no one to rely upon except Avinu Shebashamayim, our Father in heaven. Now, this isn't just the Israeli government that I'm talking about, but all governments around the world. Again, you understand the system is broken. Just had a great conversation the other day. Zone v'la v'zot refa. Who do I vote for? Well, pick your poison. It's like, well, the lesser evil. Still evil, but it's not whoever's in there is evil. Why? Because the system itself is broken. The system of this world, the governance of this world, this is what I'm talking about. No, but would you prefer this or that? None of them. Not this, nor, well, what's worse? They are both equally worse. This is the divide and conquer of the system. Nobody wants any of them. If anybody, would you choose this? If you could have some, no, they wouldn't be there. But this is what we got right now, which is basically what we deserve. But soon, slowly but surely, you see, is it? Is it? Yeah, it is. It's all written. That's why we don't get excited. I mean, we're getting excited because of what comes next. But hey, don't fret. It's all good. It's all part of God's plan. We got it written down. But yes, everything will crumble. Sorry, not sorry. So, like I said, not just about the Israeli government, all governments around the world, the system must be completely torn down, eradicated, and any type of ruler or leadership must absolutely be abolished. Once this happens, and not before, then we will have Malchut Beit David, the kingship of the house of David. That's what everybody wants, right? Guess what? Don't support the system. And Mashiach ben David will rule from Jerusalem, Israel, over the whole world. And those who remain, those who will be hallowed, as God said, you will be, like it or not, you will assist by becoming the kingdom of priests for the nations. Just like the Kohanim sanctify and purify Israel, so too will Israel help to sanctify and purify the nations. Our sages said that if the nations knew how much they would benefit from the third temple, they would come and build it for us. If only they, and we don't even understand it because, hey, but all in God's time. And the first sign of this, after everything collapses, after governments and armies fall, fake copycat religions have been exposed for what they are, and there is literally no choice but to turn to God, right? That's it. But those who have worshipped a false Messiah their entire lives, who know that everything they did was wrong, you're going to get an opportunity. Don't worry, you will have that opportunity to continue on your path or choose the right one. But with the truest of intentions, I know, God knows, desired only to serve God, though their worship was devious, through no fault of their own, will turn to the Jew at the end. And why? From Zechariah 8:22-23. And many peoples and powerful nations shall come to entreat the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, and to pray before the Lord. So said the Lord of hosts. Okay, what is God saying? In those days, when 10 men of all the languages of the nations shall take hold of the skirt of a Jewish man, that's a tzitzit, of a Jewish man, a Jew, say in Israel, in Jerusalem, because whoever's left there is holy, saying, let us go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. Don't deny the prophets. This is what is going to happen. It's right there in the simplest language, in the simplest text, in whatever copy of the Bible. I don't know all the copies, but, in all 5 or 6 or 7,000 of them that you got over there. Let's see. There's a reason they coined this the Old Testament. It doesn't exactly fit with the new narrative, now does it? So, how will God renew his heavens and earth? What does Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer say? Just as a man who reads from a scroll and rolls it up. This is not to be taken in the literal sense, of course, but rather when a man, back in the day, when you read a book, there were no books the way we have today, but everything came in a scroll, like a Torah scroll, like we read from the book of Esther today. Everything is a Torah, it's just a scroll. When we are done reading, we roll it up, okay, the end. They lived happily ever after, the end. Okay, time to roll this up, because the story was concluded. Just as we have been given 6,000 years for this reality to stand, when the time is up, the story is done, the scroll Reality is rolled up and put away. But that doesn't mean that it's the end. Though it may be the end of the world as we know it. Please God, b'mira b'yameinu, amen. Everything we have been praying for and looking forward to is yet to come. And this is the new reality, the new world that awaits. Just as a man who reads from a scroll and rolls it up, so too will the Holy One, blessed be he, do when he rolls up the heavens, just as one rolls up a scroll. And the earth, and remember, the heavens is not just the stars, it's the heavens, it's the spiritual realm. Yes, this we'll talk about in next class. And the earth will be like a worn out garment. The language is a bit tricky in Hebrew, as several commentators describe this not as a worn out garment per se, but rather a garment that at the end of the day, the owner must remove dirt or other things that are stuck to it or cling to it. In other words, okay, you're taking it off and now you're just kind of shaking it. So that's what this is. And this we can also see from the continuation of the text. And the earth will be like a worn out garment, like a man who removes his talit and folds it up. So at the end of Shacharit, you take off your talis and you shake it because a lot, you can have like lint or dust or whatever else, you're sitting on it, you're leaning on it, whatever else gets stuck to it. So that's the earth. Shake it out hard. Now, it's already clear. When I remove my talit, like we said at the end of the prayer, it's a violent shaking over there, and not only that, because it needs to be folded in the exact same fold that I do it every time. Before I fold it neatly in its pre-designated folds, and then I return it to the bag. It's a whole process. So the Holy and Blessed be He will shake the earth just like a man who removes his talit, only to check it, to inspect it, right? So too will He fold the earth and renew it, just like a talit, as said in Isaiah 51:6. Raise your eyes to heaven and look at the earth from beneath. From beneath? For the heavens shall vanish like smoke, and the earth shall rot away like a garment, and its inhabitants shall likewise die. And my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. What is going on here? God is going to shake and check the earth like a garment. And everything that should not be here, everything will not be here at that time. Now pay attention, because this is very relevant to us. And all those who dwell in the earth will taste at that time, will taste the taste of death for 2 days. Remember, you gotta survive through all these things. Whoever remains after everything, whoever is alive at that time, all those who dwell in the earth will taste the taste of death for 2 days. For the nephesh of man and beast will not be found in the earth, as said, and likewise we just read in the verse, V'yoshvea kemochen yemutun, and its inhabitants shall likewise die. What does it mean when it says, will taste the taste of death? The Hebrew says, yit'amu ta'am mita, lit'om, to taste. And even from the simpler text in the verse we just read in Isaiah, it says yamutun with a nun, not yamutu, yamutun with a nun at the end. A smaller scale of death, and not yamutu, which is a full death. Meaning, and this is according to the Radal, this is not going to be a complete death that those who remain will experience. So, what could this be like? If you recall, we discussed in the first Calling All Jews class titled A Plea, according to Rabbi Avraham Azulai, a Kabbalist from 500 years ago, and the only known person to enter the cave of Machpelah, be there, I think he was there for actually 3 days, and then he came out alive. Everybody else just either lost their minds or just died. Said that in the days of Mashiach, those who remain in the land of Israel, and only those in the land of Israel, will be given wings by God to hover and fly over the waters, while the Jews who did not come to Israel before the redemption, and they're going to be brought by, God's going to have to perform these miracles to bring you after the redemption has already begun, They'll be stuck in the physical reality because that is what kept them away from Israel to begin with. You want money? Here's gold, silver, here's all the jewels in the world. Have at it. But you're still not going to be a spiritual being like your brethren who stayed here in Israel when everything went down. You don't get to come after and say, well, I'm a Jew too. So this spiritual reality is something temporary because creation never just jumps from one phase to another. Slowly but surely. Rather, it's a slow process working up to every major event. As our sages say, Galut atchalta de geula. The exile is the beginning of the redemption. Meaning, once the show starts, it has been in the works for many years beforehand. Like currently we are in the redemption. And we're also in the last few years of the redemption. From one exile and redemption to another, spanning tens, hundreds, thousands of years simultaneously. Everything goes and everything comes with it. It keeps on getting racked up. Now remember, this is all about the renewal of the heavens and the earth. But for what reason, if not for the renewal of Israel? Just like God completed creation with man, because it was all for the sake of man, that's why God created everything, Adam. God completes the renewal of the heavens and the earth, culminating in the renewal of Israel. So when those who remain die, meaning to the reality of this world, removing death from having any kind of hold over the living, everything will be ready when they return from the dead, right? On the third day. And when will this happen? What does our text say? And on the third day, he renews them and revives them and raises them up before him. Ubayom hashlishi mechadesh otam umechaye otam umekim otam lefanav. Where is this from? The Old Testament. It's Hosea 6:2. He will revive us from the 2 days. On the third day, he will set us up. He will rise us up, and we will live before him. Oh, where else did you get this from, right? What is this reminiscent of? Before Israel would receive the Torah, the very way to the tree of life, as in life eternal. We read in Exodus 19:10 and 11. And the Lord said to Moses, go to the people and prepare them today and tomorrow, that they shall wash their garments. Now, we have already learned their garments doesn't mean their clothes, means their earthly garments, both spiritual and physical. And they shall be prepared for the third day, receiving the Torah. If you throw away the Torah, this ain't relevant for you. You can move along. For on the third day, the Lord will descend before the eyes of all the people upon Mount Sinai. Okay, you get this. Meaning, they have to go, we got to go to a mikveh, because the water separates the holy from the mundane and cleanses the flesh, cleanses our neshamot, and you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. God is the one who provides the new garments, and those are called adi, Ain Daled Yud. These were given to Israel, who were worthy of receiving them, so they would be worthy of receiving the Torah, the tree of life. You can't receive the blueprints of creation without new garments, a new reality. It's like a spacesuit, if you will. It's not like that, but you understand what I'm saying. And we can see this when they remove them. It doesn't say when they received them, and it says when they were removed from them in the incident of the golden calf. Exodus 33:6. Vaitnatzlu bnei Israel et edyam mehar chorev. So the children of Israel divested themselves of their finery. That's the adid. These are spiritual garments, meaning garments of light, not ol with an ayin, but ol with an aleph. Not skin, but light from Mount Horeb. 2 days of separation from this world in order to receive the Torah. The Torah is the tree of life. You're talking about eternal life. 2 days you die, so that on the third day, life eternal. 2 days of separation to remove the hold of death. And the resurrection is a direct correlation with the Torah, all of the Torah, especially Leviticus, the very heart of the Torah, God's literal instruction, Torah, Hora'ah, instruction, not only for this world, but for the world to come as well, as said in Proverbs 3:17-18. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. It is a tree of life for those who grasp it. It's going to be shaken hard. You better grasp on for quite literally dear life. And those who draw near to it are fortunate. And that's our class for today. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of the week and have a Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.